There's still a few more things to say about this New York Jets Washington Commanders preseason opener. We got to look ahead to the Carolina Panthers and what players, the ceiling and jumping forward prognostications. So much with a special guest. Let's roll, baby.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking awesome!
What's up, beautiful people? Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your friggin' podcasts. It's been a hot second since we've had this guest on the show. The people have been craving this individual. They've been begging for him, and I'm a man of the people. You want this guy? We try to get this guy in. He is former New York Jet, a longtime member of the National Football League. Leger Douzable, a.k.a. Douche, join us here on the show. What's up, Leger?
Hey, Boy Green, how you doing, man? Truly appreciate you having me on. Like you said, it's been a while, so this should be fun, man, because it's always a good time with you.
And look at this. Again, the background story. We got a few odes to the Jets, UCF, a couple of footballs, a couple of awards. And again, Leger, the career is, a long career in the NFL, not too shabby. Some people don't even have that. But you buddy, you're taking off, superstar, as in the broadcasting world.
Yeah, it's been a blessing, man. Like you said, to be able to have a 10-year career in the NFL, it's usually unheard of, especially for an undrafted free agent. So super blessed in that regard. But to actually have, a second career and have success in it, like you said, it isn't easy as well. And, I'd like to dedicate that to my mom and all the people that have supported me throughout the years. They've been a blessing to me, right? My mom always said, you got to sow those seeds and plant those seeds, right? And people planted seeds in your life. So now when you get the opportunity, it's your turn to do that as well. So it's been a blessing, from, going to radio at UCF, right? And starting there, then going to CBS. And while doing that and being at SNY, and then the growth at CBS has been amazing. And then calling college football games for ESPN, it's just been a blessing.
So I'm going to ask you, we'll get into some Jets action, of course, here on the program, but radio, television, again, the long former NFL career, what's next? Is it maintaining, reaching this mountaintop and kind of staying there for as long as you can and enjoying the fruits of these labors, or is there more that Leger Douzable hopes to accomplish beyond what you've already checked off the bucket list thus far?
Oh, definitely, Boy Green. The ultimate goal is to call NFL games like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. That's the pantheon. If I could, my goal is to get there, and I will get there. Right. Again, the trajectory has been great from as soon as I finished playing, calling radio at UCF to getting the SNY gig, doing the Jetson pre and post game to, being a CBS sports analyst. Right. And now I'm calling college football for ESPN. So, again, just gonna keep grinding away. You know how life is. Some of us have to start at the bottom and grind our way up, but that's been my whole career, right? As an undrafted free agent, I don't look at being a broadcaster any different than I did when I played football. I think that's why I've had so much success, because I attack it like I did when I was an undrafted free agent coming into the NFL.
It's a great mentality to have, and you have a phenomenal present with you and your beautiful family and a very bright future. Someone else who has a bright future, perhaps, Leger Douzable, is Will Gosh darn McDonald, and we saw him in the first preseason game over the weekend, the preseason opener, and while Will McDonald may not have gotten on the stat sheet with anything that people are going to rave about, but man, when you look at the mano-a-mano Will McDonald one-on-one in a battle with an offensive lineman, and we just saw a few weeks ago, the Hall of Fame, Dwight Freeney, captain spin move. We've been seeing a lot of these spin cycles in his washing machine of Will McDonald. What have you made of this young man?
I mean, Boy Green, if you go back 2 years ago and watched him at Iowa State, he had the best spin move of all the draft picks coming out that year. I think, matter of fact, when I was at the Senior Bowl, being able to talk to, I don't know why I'm having a brain fart right now, the Steelers head coach.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, right? He was talking about how he literally looked at every spin move Will McDonald had. And so we knew that was in his tool bag, right? And I think you've seen a lot of that. I was had the privilege to go to the crossover practice with the Washington Commanders, and literally just wanted to kind of look at Will and see what his growth looked like. And I mean, good Lord, he's going to be able to help this team on third downs more specifically. His ability, his twitchiness off the ball, his bendability, like it's rare to find somebody that has the height, size, and speed that can bend the edge, right? Flip their body and still be running full speed. And he has that ability. You talked about some of the clips that were on the social media page for the Jets. I actually got to see those firsthand. It was out of this world. Like the thing is for Will, as he continues to get stronger, because he has gotten stronger, if he ever truly believes in his speed to power move, he might be unstoppable rushing the quarterback, because offensive tackles are never going to not kick back because he's so twitchy off the line of scrimmage. Like offensive tackles kind of know who they're going against based off the tape, right? And there's certain guys where they won't open up as much because they feel like they're just as agile and they have a quick enough kick step that they can get back and stay square on the guy. Well, for Will McDonald, everybody's going to overset, right? Because he is that fast, right? And his ability not only to counter inside, but then to reverse spin out. We saw that clip too on social media. Like he made an inside move, then reverse spin to the left and dipped up under the tackle's punch and got to the quarterback. Like he's just such a freak athlete. And then the very first play of one of the team drills, he literally hit the fake stab and dipped up under the tackle's punch. We call that a ghost rush, and literally knocked the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hand. He wasn't even trying to. He just ran right past him and knocked the ball out of his hand. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, he didn't do much in the preseason game. You got to think about it. He only had 11 snaps. If I'm not mistaken, 5 of those were run. One was a screen. I think one was a bootleg. So you got to think, out of the 4 rushes or maybe even 3 that he had, he won his one-on-one with a spin move and hit the quarterback. And, was that roughing the passer? I think that's up to interpretation. The ref called it, so it is what it is. I didn't think that was roughing the passer. You also got to understand, Will McDonald's about 235, 240. So for a guy like him to be able to bring some of these bigger quarterbacks down, like he literally has to put a little bit of weight on guys. He just has to understand that when you do that, you just got to fall off to the side. You can't land on the guy. And you saw Germaine Johnson after that play actually talking to him about that on the sideline. So he'll get better with that. But again, I think if you give him that Bryce Huff role, now I know people would love to see the second year growth and ascension like we saw from Germaine Johnson. I think that's lofty, right? Jermaine's a different player than him, right? Jermaine's a physical player that has some pass rush tools in his bag, right? And you could play him in multiple spots. And do not be surprised this year when Hassan Reddick finally shows up to the Jets. Germaine Johnson kicking inside and Will McDonald going outside with Haason Reddick and Quentin Williams. We saw a little bit of that last year where they had Germaine Johnson as the spinner, is what we call it on defense, where he would stand up inside with Quentin Williams. And now you can be multiple in what you do with some of those pass rush games. So I'm looking forward to seeing that package again once Haason Reddick finally shows up to the Jets camp and they really get this thing going.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that at some point. There's no question about it. But on Will, I'm kind of curious because a lot of people on the outside are making a lot of noise about Will McDonald's weight, and he's been hovering in this 230, 235 range. And people said, man, he needs more meat on the bones to be at this NFL level and do everything to that. Are the people who are saying that outside the building making too much noise about it or not?
I don't think they're making too much noise about it because it's some truth to it, right? Okay. Again, it's hard to hold up on the edge when you're 230 pounds. Like, no matter how tough and physical you are, like, weight and gravity is a real thing, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's a real thing. So I don't know if they're making too much fuss about it. The thing is, until it becomes a true big issue in game day, then we really can't say too much about it, right? Again, he has gotten a lot stronger. And then also, I just think his defined role isn't going to be a guy that's going to play all 3 downs for 60 snaps a game, right? He's going to be a guy that's going to play every third down play, kind of like Bryce Huff did. And then he'll probably play like 10, maybe 15 first and second down snaps, right? If things go according to plan with Hassan Reddick coming back, there's a caveat to that, right? So, like, I think that's why a lot of people are worried just because of this scenario isn't finished yet with Hassan Reddick. So you're going to be banking on Will to play a lot more snaps early on in the season, depending on when Hassan Reddick comes back, because there's an acclimation period. Even when you're a vet, say Hassan Reddick comes and, things don't work out until right before the season starts. then, a week and a half, 2 weeks is tough to really, even for a veteran, to be where you want to be in regards to getting ready for a 17-game season. So you would think, that week one, Hassan Reddick, his plays would be probably tapered down in regards to what he's actually going to do out there on the field, because you worry about soft tissue injuries and things like that. And then also, just as a player, there's mental hurdles that we have to check off before we get ready for the season, right? I mean, when I played, probably after year 4 or 5, Paul, I only technically needed like 2.5, maybe 3 weeks of training camp practice, though.
Yeah.
Training camp. It's a lot different in the season, like, because those in-season practices are not the same. Like, you're getting your conditioning and stuff in, but it's just not as physical. Like, so for me, if I got 2 solid weeks of training camp, I was good. Like, I was good for a 17-week season, because by then I was going to be in shape and I was never going to get out of shape again. But there's some callus and things that you need to build up in a 2-week span in training camp, not regular season, in training camp, that'll get you ready. And if you don't get it in training camp, it's going to take you 2 to 3, 4 games to get that callus built up to feel comfortable to be who you were before you had all that off time.
And to your point, the training camp's kind of running out. We've got this week coming up with the Panthers joint practice. We have the Giants. And then now with the new kind of NFL remake of the schedule where there's not a 4th preseason game, there's 2 weeks between the final preseason game and the season. Training camp ends almost a little bit earlier in a sense. So now there's going to be even less of that training camp time available potentially for Reddick. We'll get back into Reddick in a second. But on a last one on Will McDonald here, you mentioned it. I think the people that just naturally go, oh, Germaine Johnson, boom, boom. Will McDonald, boom, boom.
Not
it's
fair.
Just going to happen.
Not fair.
You made the word lofty and just not fair. And I agree. I think that is too. So what is a proper jump for a guy, Will McDonald, who, again, this is a crazy stat that he played last year, the fewest amount of snaps for a Jets first-round pick since Vernon Gholston in 2008. And that's a long time ago. So he didn't get a lot of run. Now he's expected to get a big jump in playing time. What is that going to mean? What are expectations, statistically speaking, for Will McDonald, fair expectations heading into 2024?
Yeah, I hate to put like statistical stats and stuff out there. To me, when you talk about a jump for him, it's going to be being the third defensive end, being the guy that can play every third down snap, like Bryce Huff did. That's why I said if you put him in the Bryce Huff role and he's able to make an impact on the game. And if you wanted those statistics out there, like, you can't say he's going to be Bryce Huff, because Bryce Huff had 10.5 sacks last year. Like, that's crazy, right? And Bryce Huff was going into year 4. Will's going into year 2, right? So, like, to me, if he hovers around 5 or 6 sacks, but is constantly getting pressure, right, and is a third down guy, has a defined role in what he's going to do, a third down guy, and he'll spell, Germaine for 10 to 15 snaps with, the combination of Reddick and Clemens getting some first and second down reps as well, then I think that's a good year for him, right? He gets around 5, 6 sacks, maybe even 5, right? But he's just constantly around the quarterback. The pressure rate is up there, right? He continuously wins his one-on-ones because he's going to get them, right? Especially if you have Hassan Reddick, Germaine Johnson inside, and Quentin Williams. You're going to get the one-on-one. If he consistently wins those, that's a big win for Will McDonald and this Jets defense, especially if you're assuming, things work out some type of way with Hassan Reddick, where he is playing on his last year. So he's going to be super motivated to go out there and make a lot of plays, depending on what tweaks the Jets do to his contract when they finally get him in camp. So to me, again, you can't expect him to have a Germaine Johnson jump, because Germaine Johnson went from being the 3rd or 4th in to being an everyday starter, right? That's not what Will McDonald's going to be in year 2. So again, give him the Bryce Huff role, right, where he's playing every third down, but he constantly gets pressure on the quarterback and then spells Germaine or Hassan Reddick for 10 to 15 plays on first and second down. That's a major win for the Jets and for Will Anderson.
Again, we're speaking with Leger Douzable here, baby. CBS sports analyst, award-winning broadcaster, award-winning player, award-winning human being. I mean, just awards for everything, quite frankly, with what Leger brings to the table. Let's talk about Hassan Reddick. It's awkward. It's the weird thing that's hanging around. The vibes are high with the Jets on everything else, basically, outside of this Hassan Reddick situation. What do you think's going to happen here? Because, like, the Jets think they're on the right with this thing, and they believe Hassan Reddick said something. Hassan thinks he's in the right. Look at my production the last couple of years. I want to be paid. And now it's this awkward stirring contest with no end seemingly in sight.
Yeah, you're talking about 50 and a half sacks the last 4 years. I think only 3 guys have had more: Trey
Correct.
Hendrickson, TJ Watt, and Myles Garrett, if I'm not mistaken. So you're talking
That's
about
right.
ultra productive when you talk about what he's done. I think he's also number 1 in forced fumbles the last 4 years. So now you're talking about game-changing plays. And that's essentially why they brought him in, to be the closer, to be the finisher that we need to end games, because they assume Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy this year. It'll be a lot different. The Jets will be either playing with a lead, a significant lead, or a small lead, right, going into the fourth quarter. So that's why you bring in a guy like Hassan Reddick. Ultimately, I think there's going to be a tweak to this final year of his deal, right? I think he's slated to make $14.5 million,
Correct.
which is grossly underpaid when you look at what the top edge rushers are making, right? They're making upwards to $30-35 million,
Correct.
Paul.
Yeah.
So, when you're Hassan Reddick, you have every right to be pissed off, right? Now, again, I don't know what was said. There's been rumors on both sides in regards to supposedly the Jets told him that they weren't going to change his deal. They'll think about an extension either throughout the season or at the end of the season. Supposedly he was on board with that. I don't know what's true, and I don't know what we are here. We're here now, right? We're at this point now. So I think a conversation needs to happen where, at this point, honestly, I think the Jets need to reach out to him and be like, we're willing to, tweak your last year deal to give you some more money, and then also put in there where it's incentive based. If you hit these escalators, you get this amount of money. I think he's not going to show up for anything less than probably 22 mil, which he has every right to do because of what he's been able to do on the field, right? And there's rumors supposedly they're not going to do anything until he shows up. But that's, to me, when a guy has showed you that he's willing to hold out, I don't think he's going to show up unless you actually start talking about money to get him to show up. That's usually what happens in this scenario, right? Now, again, he's been fined a boatload of money, so it's going to be like the Chris Jones situation. No matter how much money he does end up making with the Jets, most of that's going to fines. And Chris Jones even talked about that. That's why he needed to get that big deal this year, because he had to offset all the fines he was talking about. and that's why in Week 18, even though the Chiefs were locked into the 3 spot, he played in that game because he had a 10-sack $1 million escalator in his contract. He got his 10th sack and then went to the sideline because he had to pay for all those fines. So, it's going to be something similar to that. I think that's what happens because that's what the Chiefs did, right? They changed up Chris Jones. They gave him a little bit more money his last year of his deal. Then they extended him this offseason. I can see that being the scenario with Hassan Reddick. The only thing is you just pray that it doesn't happen like it did for Chris Jones. Because remember, he missed week 1 of the season and didn't come back till week 2. And the Chiefs lost that game. I would hate to go into week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers, who some have as the favorites to win the Super Bowl, without one of your best weapons in regards to closing out a game.
Yeah, that'd be a damn shame if that indeed is what happens, and then you don't figure it out till after that. I'm curious because the other side, there are some advocates in the Jets fan base that say, you know what, Jets, just give Reddick the bag right now. Sign him to that crazy 2 or 3 year deal for a lot of money that he deserves, and then just lock him in, and you have him paired with the Aaron Rodgers window of winning, and now we don't have to even talk about this. Would you advise the Jets to do that or against that?
It's tough, right? It depends on what the number is, right?
Okay.
Because, and as a player, I'm always advocating for players to get what they deserve, right? He's grossly underpaid. If I'm him, I'm probably not showing up until we start talking around $23-24 million, right? And then there should be some incentive for me to get even higher than that, because we just talked about it, Paul. The top rushers in the league are making upwards of $30 million plus, right? And he's proven to be one of the top rushers. This is the thing, though, Paul. I've talked to a lot of GMs, a lot of head scouts, and they're willing to let a player go 1 year too early rather than pay him 1 year too late.
Of
right?
course.
And Hassan Reddick, I believe, is turning 30 during the season, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. In September. Yeah, he's 29, turns 30 in September. Yep.
I mean, Father Time is undefeated. Now, we are seeing guys play up until 34, 35. I mean, Calais Campbell's in my class. He's about to turn 38, and he's still playing. He's still playing at a pretty high level as well.
Yeah.
It's just the way that these practices and everything is set up this year. These years, it's not as bad. You can play a little bit longer. But I think the data shows as you get older, obviously, you're not going to be as productive. So I think that's the thing the Jets are kind of worried about, right? They'd rather see how things go this year, right? Maybe give him some more money for this season, put some incentive-based things in his contract, and then revisit it. Maybe they even revisit it in the middle of the season if he comes out on a tear, kind of like they did with John Franklin Myers. They paid him around the bye week, right? Or they just revisit it at the end of the season. So, because you got to think about it, with Aaron Rodgers, you probably only got 2 more years anyway, right? Yeah. So, like, I know why a lot of Jet fans are like, let's just pay him, because, like, we really only got Rodgers for 2 more years. Like, we got to do what we got to do, but you got to be cognizant of the deals you're giving out, because let's not forget, the Jets had a franchise-changing draft 3 years ago. After this year, all of those guys are eligible for deals. Germaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and you heard Sauce Gardner talking about Tyreek Hill's deal already. So you already know what type of money he's looking for. So you have to be cognizant of that, right? Because those are the guys that are literally the future of your franchise, right? Those are foundational pieces, where Hassan Reddick is going to be a piece you need for the short term, right? So that's what the Jets have to measure out and figure out what makes sense. And that's why I think an adjustment to this last year of his deal is most likely going to happen between Jets and Hassan Reddick.
Let's go to another pass rusher. Again, for Leger Douzable, you see CBS Sports Analyst, just see the awards on the wall. Literally, it would be easier to list the things that Leger Douzable isn't than what he is because of all of that. But something else that you are, Leger Douzable, is the president of the Germaine Johnson fan club. You told us all. You warned us all. You said, hey, hop on before it's too late. Toot is what you said, Leger, and he has taken off like a rocket ship. He has been spectacular. And now, to your point, that he went from, third, fourth in line, all of a sudden he is an everyday guy. And last year he's a Pro Bowler, well-deserved after the terrific year that he had. But a lot of people think he could take another even massive leap, and very paramount, because to your point, after this season, he could start talking money. And there's a big difference in conversation if he becomes a double-digit sack guy to what that number is, or if he hovers in this range of 6, 7, 8 sack kind of guy, which is also valuable, but valuable in a different way. I'm curious, as the leader of the Germaine Johnson fan club, as part of the Germaine Johnson army, Leger Douzable, what's next? You have the crystal ball. You've been telling us since day one what everything's going to happen. What's next here for Germaine Johnson here in 2024?
I see a Sedarius White, Matt Judon type of lift for him in regards to not just playing on the outside, but on third down, wreaking havoc inside, because he has the toughness and the skill set. And the thing is, you see a lot of these teams, they have what you call a NASCAR package, right? Is where you usually put 4 defensive ends. The only thing is, you're not taking Quentin Williams out because he's a perennial All-Pro and he can get to the quarterback from the inside. But that's essentially what the Jets will have with Quentin Williams in the middle, right? And Germaine Johnson with the athletic ability to stand up in the 2-point and rush multiple places. I've seen Hassan Reddick do it with the Eagles. I would not even be surprised if they're interchangeable. We kind of saw Jeff Albrecht and Saleh do that late last year with Bryce Huff and Germaine, both of them being inside, kind of being that spinner guy. Germaine Johnson, you don't have to worry about him in the run game. That's his bread and butter. Like he's going to be a physical guy, set the edge in the run game and wreak havoc in the run game. I think he's going to take elite pass rushing, especially when you talk about potentially having a perennial All-Pro on the other side, not just on the inside with him, but on the other side, and Hassan Reddick again when he finally gets to Jets training camp. But you got to think about, like, if he constantly has that on first, second, and third down, because he had and I love John Franklin Myers. I'm a huge John Franklin Myers fan. That was the one guy I did not want to see go. I thought he was the heartbeat of that defense. He did all the gritty work that nobody kind of wanted to do. But if you're having a guy like, especially when you're playing leads, you have a guy like Hassan Reddick on the other side. We kind of talked about how that'll help Will McDonald. It's going to help Germaine too, especially on like first and second down play action, because they're probably going to send that chip or that tight end to Hassan Reddick's side just because they know how freakish he is off the ball in regards to his first step and then getting into the backfield, and also knowing how to read play action pass, read bootleg, and take a beeline straight to the quarterback. That's going to help Germaine Johnson as well. And I've seen a couple of his workouts, talked to him throughout the offseason, actually chopped it up with him a little bit at the Commanders Jets cross practice. Looking forward to talking to him next week in Carolina. This kid, I know he had like 7.5 last year.
Yeah,
Would not
right
be
around
surprised if he's in that 8 to 10 mark this year.
Sign me up, baby. And speaking of the numbers, I found this as another interesting number. Jets had top 5 defense, second straight year. It was great despite the offense being god awful. I mean, it was disgusting. And the stat was this. The Jets were tied for 7th in the NFL with 48 sacks last year. And they were in not a single advantageous position as it pertains to the offense holding a lead. Right. To be 7th in the league after that.
Crazy.
So I just have to ask the natural question. If they have a handful of leads and even potentially beyond with Rodgers, if you're 7th with that crap on offense last year, top 3, 1, what's possible?
And this is what we talked about earlier, right, Paul, when I was talking about how this front office and coaching staff assumes, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, and not even, again, knock on wood, we pray that Aaron Rodgers is healthy for all 17 games plus into the playoffs. But they're in such a better position with Tyrod Taylor. And I literally tweeted that the other day. My first biggest thing was Garrett Wilson is fantastic and he's due for a big year. But my second biggest thing, I was like, probably the biggest signing for the Jets was Tyrod Taylor. I know you can talk about the O-line and getting John Simpson and getting Tyrod, Tyron Smith and getting, Morgan Moses. But getting Tyrod Taylor as your backup quarterback was monumental, especially after what the Jets went through last year with all the backups that played here. Like the offense literally was still at playing at a high level. Now they didn't execute as well in the preseason game, but most of the starters weren't in that game, right? When Tyrod had the starters in that cross practice, it was almost unstoppable. Like him, and I think it's something to be said that Garrett Wilson had his best practice with the backup quarterback, and that's saying something because his connection with Aaron Rodgers has been out of this world throughout training camp. But he literally had his best practice with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, right? So to me, that was the biggest thing. So like the way that the Jets are set up, right? The offensive line is significantly better. Garrett Wilson, you would think, takes another step. Mike Williams just got brought off the PUP list, right? So he's not going to be taking part of practice. It's been the summer of Alan Lazard. I don't think anybody saw that, right? He's playing out of this world. Conklin continues to play really well. Like, if this defense gets a lead, like you talked about it, they never had a lead last year and were still in the top 10 in sacks, top 5 in defense. I believe they were the number 1 pass defense. And they never had a lead. Like, that's crazy. Like, just imagine what this defense can do. And just talking to some of the players last year, like that was like there was frustration, but that was one of their biggest things. They were like, man, if we could just get a league, like some of the defensive players, like we could just get a league, we could just like tee off on guys because like literally they had to hold everybody last year, Paul, to like 10 points or less to even have a chance to win, right?
Yeah.
So like they were like, man, if we could just get a league, and I would assume with this offense, the way it's set up, the way we refortify the backfield, even though Breece Hall probably isn't going to come out as much, you have to love what you saw from Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis as well. And again, the offensive line depth is significantly better than it was last year. Like, oh my God, you could just dream about what this Jets defense is thinking going into the fourth quarter up by like 10 or even 7 points. Like, oh my God, they're got to be salivating at the mouth because they haven't had that opportunity.
Yeah, and here's another one, just because these stats, unfortunately, are in my head, but this one is kind of crazy. So, again, the Jets had 48 sacks as a defense last year. That was tied for 7th in the NFL. They were the 3rd most run-on team in the NFL. So, think about all the other teams. Teams just ran the ball against the Jets. Why? Because they had crappy quarterback play. They said, they'll shoot themselves in the foot eventually. And, unfortunately, that was right.
Or they had leads late in the game, too, and they could just run the ball out.
So 48 sacks, and they didn't even have that many opportunities because people were running against them all the time. Crazy. That even shows how even higher that number can be. Dudes, I'm not sure where you are on this guy because this guy's divisive. I am a fan of this guy. If you're the president of the Germaine Johnson fan club, I'm the president of the Michael Clemens fan club. I freaking love this guy. Where are you on Michael Clemens? Because a lot of Jet fans are very split.
Yeah, it's a big year for him going into year 3. He's been a player that's kind of been multiple. I think they kind of look at him and they want him to kind of take over that John Franklin Myers role, right? A guy that's going to be your physical run stopper on the edge, but the possibility to maybe kick inside on 3rd down, but also be able to rush on the edge as well. And that's something I think Michael has really leaned into this year, right? We saw him with a real physical stop backed up in the red zone in the game this past week, where he literally knocked the tackle into the running back and knocked them on the ground. Like, that's who Michael Clemens is, and that's who he has to continue to be and continue to grow in that aspect. I just would like him to really hone in on his third down pass rush inside, right, and really cultivate that rush plan and that rush game also, because when he came out, the funny thing is I really liked him rushing on the edge. Like, even though he's a bigger dude, he's pretty nimble, on his feet, and he can bend a little bit as well too. So throwing that chop club, bending and rip, he was able to do that a lot, especially his rookie year when I was able to get out to some of the Jets practices during training camp. I was like, this guy's got a little wiggle to him, even though he's a bigger guy. But I think they really want him to lean into that John Franklin Myers role. I think he'll be the third end on run downs, first and second, but he'll be the fourth in regards to pass rush. But he'll probably be the third or fourth guy inside, right? When you talk about having Quinnen Williams inside, Germaine maybe kicking inside, Solomon Thomas, I think he not in the game because he didn't play in the game, but from what I saw, he was in there with the ones and nickel packages as well. And I think they would love to have Michael Clemens be able to find his role in that as well, as far as him really cultivating and honing in on that third rush or pass rush game from the interior defensive line.
And again, you guys can follow Leger Douzable on Twitter. Make sure you do, because it seemed like this player I'm about to bring up caught your eye, and it caught the eye of a lot of guys. Leonard Taylor III had a big blow-up sack, had a great TFL in the game, and Robert Saleh said he's been coming on as of late. Apparently, he must have had some bit of a slow start to camp, but now it's really picking up steam. A super talented undrafted free agent that some you call college football games. People were talking about him a couple years ago. Ooh, this guy's going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And somehow he ended all the way up undrafted. So you saw that talent against the Commanders, though.
Yeah, and it was interesting because watching his game tape from the year before and then last year was two totally different tapes. And I think some of the things that Miami asked him to do didn't highlight his skill set as much. And also there was question marks about him playing hard as well. And you saw that on tape as well. But when you come play for a guy like Aaron Whitecotton, Jeff Ulbrich, Robert Saleh, you don't have a choice but to play hard, right? Or you're going to be out of here. And I think he's kind of leaned into that. I mean, there's no better motivating factor than to be at the pinnacle, be at the top, and people talking about your name in the first round and then going undrafted. I can speak from experience. Like, when I came out, I heard I was going to go third through fifth round, and I went undrafted. Like, there's nothing better that motivates you every day than that happening to you. Right. So I think you've seen a little bit of that too. And he's a guy that has an under the radar chance to make this team as well, because you got to think about it. They usually keep probably like 10 guys on D line. Yeah. So could he be the fifth defensive tackle? Like, he could with his skill set. And then you saw it, some of his explosibility to rip through the line, get the TFL, to win one-on-one pass rush with a guard, get on the edge, power, get off of him, and get that sack. Like, that was big for him, right? He just has to continue to stack days. You can't really. And this is why I try to tell everybody, because this was told to me when I was younger. Don't count people and count numbers, right? Make your reps count. That's all you can do, because at the end of the day, like, what you put on film is who you are. And whether the Jets put you on the roster, there's 31 other teams that look at that tape as well. So, like, he just has to continue to stack the days.
Great advice. Two quickies before we get you out of here, Leger. We're heading into Carolina Panthers week. There's another joint practice scheduled, and then, of course, the preseason game. Is there players or things that you're looking out for when, again, you were at the Commanders joint practice, and we just talked about the game over the weekend. With this joint practice coming up, the preseason game coming up, are there things you're looking out for that you want to see this week?
Yeah, continue to watch Will McDonald, obviously, as well. He's going to continue to get, the reps. Last year when I went to the Carolina cross practice, Boy Green, it was bad. Like, the Jets' defensive line wreaked havoc. Like, I'm interested, even though I know we're talking about the Jets, I'm interested to see what this Carolina O-line that's been rebuilt. They went and got Robert Hunt, went and got Lewis. They really tried to shore up the middle of the offensive line because, Bryce Young is a shorter quarterback, so you need to make sure that interior pressure doesn't get there. So I want to see, now that they've upgraded their guards, I want to see how Quinnen Williams is going to play against them, how Javon Kinlaw is going to play, because Quinnen Williams was unblockable in that crossover practice last year. It was bad. It was, matter of fact, I think you saw it on Hard Knocks. You saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sacks. He was going to Aaron Rodgers. I had 5 sacks last team. And he wasn't exaggerating. Like, he was not blocked like once during those team periods. So that would be something else to watch as well. And then also, they've also revamped their receiving core now it'll
Yeah,
be interesting to see like Deontay Johnson versus Sauce
sure.
Gardner and DJ Reed. And also they took Xavier Leggett. Now he did get banged up. I wonder, will he actually go this week? That'll be something
Sure.
to watch as well.
Adam
But
Thielen, the old man, still
yeah,
out
correct.
there.
He's still
Yeah.
there. He's still there as well. And then they took Mingo last year.
Yes, it's
He
another
still
good
has
one.
some issues with some drops though. So that'll be
Mm.
something to watch as well. So and then Aaron Rodgers, right? We'll finally get to, hopefully, depending on the weather, right? We'll get to see him in the cross practice versus another team. Last year, the offense had some up and down performances in that cross practice. It's interesting to see him with the starting 5 offensive line. I think that's the biggest thing as well, because I saw the first period of team with the starting 5 offensive line, and they were creating gaping holes versus the Commanders. And interior wise, that's one of the best defensive units in football when you talk about Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. So like they have Derek Brown, who's one of the best run stuffing nose tackles in all of football. So it'll be a good test for Elijah Vera Tucker and John Simpson and Tippmann as well. Right. And on the edge, they did bring in Jadeveon Clowney. Right. So he's a guy that had a career year last year as well. So I just want to see that continuity, the offensive line continue to build, because just remember at this point last year, we didn't know who the starting 5 were going to be on the offensive line, right? And Aaron Rodgers even talked about that. He was like, we're having patience right now, but eventually I need to know who my starting 5 guys are, where that's not an issue this year. Like week 1 of cross practice versus the Commanders, all starting 5 guys were out there and did at least one team together, right? Now, I thought it was smart, and I actually said this because I was on the Jets pre-practice live out there at Florham Park. I said, I wonder, once we found out Aaron Rodgers wasn't practicing, I wonder how long they're going to keep Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses in. And sure enough, it was after that first team run, they took them out of there, which I thought was really smart as well. No need to risk them, guys. We saw what we needed to see out of that one team period. Now they just got to continue to build and grow that continuity, which they'll do this week leading up to that trip to Carolina and into the game. So those are the 2 things probably I want to see, right? I think it's the trenches, which is a surprise, right? The defensive line talking about the trenches.
That's on brand.
Our defensive tackles, right, versus their revamped interior offensive line, and then just our offensive line, who had some shaky performances last year up there in Carolina. This revamped group on our side versus their defensive line.
And here's the last item. Again, we keep referencing all these awards. If you're watching the video coverage here, you can see all the wonderful awards behind Leger Douzable, and there's room for more. And we're going to give you an opportunity right now, Leger, to add another one to there. So I told you, you have the crystal ball with Germaine Johnson. You made that happen. You spoke it into existence. If we would have just listened to you, we all would have known it a couple years ago. Is there any Jet taker prediction that you said it all this offseason that you want the entire universe to know that you're putting your stake on, you're putting your Leger Douzable flag on, and then you're letting everyone know that, hey, I'm telling you here in August, and people, when you check back the tape, we're tape people here, we watch the film, you go back and check the tape that Leger Douzable was here first saying it. What is it? Is it a player? Is it a prediction? Is it a stat? Is it a record? What is it for you that you're planting your flag on here on something revolving around the New York Jets?
Tyler Conklin will go over 750 yards receiving, maybe even 800 this
Ooh,
year.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Yeah, we can only hope that is the case for Tyler. And he's been having a couple good years with, again, questions at quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
So
nice
just
little bump
imagine
there.
what he's going to do with Aaron Rodgers. They had a rapport last year before Aaron got hurt. So it'll be really interesting to see what that rapport builds and looks like now that Aaron Rodgers is going to be there for 17 games. I'm speaking that into existence. There it is. Aaron Rodgers will play 17 plus games for the Jets this year.
From your lips to God ears, baby. Let's and if that happens, shoot. We already know all the other stuff that happens if Aaron Rodgers is healthy. That'd be amazing. Leger, it's been too damn long since we have you on the show, so I'm glad that we're able to check that off the bucket list. And boy, I almost have to continue to space these out because you keep getting awards and you're doing commencement speeches and things for all of this. I mean, it's terrific. So it was amazing to watch you as a player here with the Jets. It's even more amazing and a prideful moment for all Jet fans to see you continue to have success because we're vicariously living through you. We're like, look, our guy is kicking ass, so we love to see it, brother.
Appreciate you, and appreciate you having me on again, Paul.
I think we're about to have another legendary call here. I wasn't even aware that this caller I'm about to bring on had talents that expanded to this level. Hap joins us on the show with the guitar. Hap?
Hey, fellas. Okay. Boy Green Daily, we're talking Jets. We are the best. Forget the rest. We're up to date. We're going there. Super Bowl's coming, so all beware. Yeah.
Wow. Good go, Hep. Unbelievable. Whoa. Hep, I didn't even know you could play guitar in a song. That's historic. We're cutting that up. That's going out on social media. There's no doubt about it. Well, that's going on YouTube. Oh my goodness, Hep. Wow, you're a talented man, even more than we all thought.
Thanks, Paul. Hey, I love you guys, man. I love staying in touch. You know what? Really embrace this, guys, because this is our Super Bowl year. Mm-hmm. Embrace each little moment, all the little struggles, because at the end, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be glorious. And, all right. I love you guys. See you later.
I love you. Wow. That was so cool, Hep. Holy friggin' crap. All right. Let's give a shout out. I couldn't do this during the show. Sorry, boys, but there's Gosh Darn Chimes, baby. Right at the beginning of the show, shout out to MFC, mother_FN_Chew. Way to go, baby. Infrared Jets, who we gave a lovely shout out to, both Johnny Boy and Snowball, who's a part of their wonderful Jets Worldwide show. We appreciate you. So shout out to him. Those at the beginning of the show. Infrared Jets. Again, gifting memberships or punching in your own ticket. Both are possible there. There's no question about it. And one, I'm sorry, Terrence, I missed this during the show. Leger Douzable, can Garrett Wilson get to 100 catches by week 10? I will make sure I follow up and text Leger and get you that answer as well, because I know, Terrence, you've been speaking of speaking things into existence. Terrence, so you've been on the Garrett Wilson 100 catches by week 10, and whoa, Nelly, that would be spectacular. No doubt about it. All right, everybody, feel free to call into the show. And you can do so. That is the pinned comment on YouTube, youtube.com/boygreen25. And you can call into the program, but we'll be on for a few more minutes here. We are at 500 people live in the room. Make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe. It's been a long time since we've had Leger Douzable on the show. As a matter of fact, I believe it's been over 2 years, which I couldn't believe. And it just hit me like, oh, my goodness. And there it is. There's Jets Worldwide, the YouTube channel right there. You guys can hit them up. Check out their show. Every Sunday morning at 10:30, I believe it's me and Woody. Boop, boop, boop. And great logo there, by the way. We'll be joining that show coming up on Sunday morning. So can't wait. Should be a lot of fun. So, guys, make sure you guys check that out. But, yeah, I don't think we've had Leger on in a long-ass time, so that was great. Thank you guys for the question, support, and all that jazz. That was terrific. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Not normally this guy coming off the top rope as the first caller, but... Let's do it, baby. B-Mac joins us here on the show. What's up, B-Mac?
Hey, Pablo Green. Usually if you're not first, you never know. So be prepared, right?
I see. I like you mixing it up, though, because, like, I never know when you're going to attack and prowl from the bushes. So you could be last, you could be first, you could be all over the place. We appreciate it.
First of all, I just want to say that I just have a lot of respect for you. Because you get all these, guys and all these media people on your show, man. Like I don't know how you do it. You know what I mean? I think it's great. Players, media, and people who are objective. People who see the team, cover the team. Not these guys who trying to get a hot take or guys who trying to get clicks. Like. Hopefully you won't have Nick Wright or Colin Cowherd on your show or nothing like that.
I don't think so. I have a weird beef with Nick Wright, and I don't think so on the others. But I will say, to your point, I take great pride in the guests getting on this show. It's very important to me, and I want you guys, the Boy Green Coffee Club, Boy Green Daily, to get insights. For instance, Judy Batista joined us like 2 weeks ago. She sat down with Aaron Rodgers, then she sat down with us. I thought that was really cool. I'm like, holy freaking crap. She was literally just at the Jets facility, standing a foot away from Aaron Rodgers. She has some insight. Leger Douzable, he was at the Jets Commanders joint practice, and he's been around the team. He's apparently going to be there for their Jets joint practice in Carolina. That's awesome. That's great coverage and insights from people that are as close to the sun as you could possibly get. So an absolute pleasure to have any of those people on the show. And I'm hoping to swing a couple other biggies as we continue over the coming weeks.
Yeah, and then I do hope you get another guest on. Do you know James Jones?
Oh, the former Packers wide receiver. I know of him. I don't know him directly, but yeah, if you want him on the show, I'll give it a whirl. I know you also want Tyler Dunn, so I've been working with him for go long, and he's covered the Packers for a long time. We'll try to get him on the show before the season too.
Yeah. James. Well, the reason about James Jones because he's Rodgers' former teammate, and he always defends Rodgers to
fine with me. That's a good thing. He should be defending his teammate.
He's on this show Speak, which Shady McCoy and Joy Taylor, and it seems like they all like shit on Rodgers a lot, especially Shady. Shady is always saying that Shady said one time that rubbed me the wrong way that Rodgers having won Super Bowl is an embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like
come on. Like, for instance, off the top of my head, how many Super Bowls does LaShawn have? I think only one because he joined the team last season.
No, he's got two. Yeah, two. But remember, those Super Bowls he didn't participate in. He was on.
Was it Tampa and Kansas City?
Yes, Tampa and Kansas City.
Yeah.
Way
to go, shit. Come on, man.
Yeah, but the Super Bowls he didn't participate. Like the Super Bowls, like he didn't have a single stat in the Super Bowls. He was just like he was on the back of the bus.
Come on, Shady. Come on, man.
If that's the case, his Dan Marino is an embarrassment because he won. Is Juby's embarrassing because he got one?
Yeah, it's a good point to bring up. I know someone else. Like I see Phil saying, get Garrett on the show. I had Garrett Wilson on the show last year. It was spectacular to have Garrett. He's a busy guy, so I'm not sure if we could get him back. But if we can, I'd love to talk to Garrett Wilson again. That was another one of my favorite interviews.
Yeah, and then So going back to James Jones thing, says so.
Yes.
If we'll be, hopefully you can somehow get him on the show because
I'll work on that.
Because he knows Rodgers and he's gonna tell you, how Rodgers approaches and what his mindset is and all that stuff.
I'll tell you another guy. I'm gonna be getting on the show eventually. Okay, it's this guy. Okay. So this is an Aaron Rodgers book. It's called Out of the Darkness. And my good buddy who wrote this book, Ian O'Connor, I'm taking notes and going through this book right now. We will have Ian O'Connor on the show who did interviews. This is like a book that's coming out. I don't think it's out publicly yet. It should be out in another week or so. But I know Ian, and I'm going through the media book here, and I'm coming up with question stuff for that Rodgers interview. So that'll be coming up in the near future.
Yeah, that's did he send that to you?
Yeah. So I could go through it. So, because for me personally, when I have authors on the show, it's not out yet. Jared B says, I think it's out on like August 20th or something. But it's something I like doing when I have authors on the show, and that happens a lot in radio. Is I like going through the book myself because they give you when they send you a book, they give you like kind of bullet points of the book that you could ask the author. But to me, I like reading the book myself and coming up with my own questions. So hopefully I can finish going through that as quickly as possible. It's a great book so far. It's really interesting. And it's a brand new book. It's coming out, like I said, in like a week or so. So I can't wait.
All right, that's good. Well, I'm gonna.
Jared B says BMAC is gonna cry on that because that's gonna be a massive Aaron Rodgers interview. Like you'll be so emotional. Like this will be great. Like it'll be the greatest interview ever. I hope I am able to drive you to tears. That would be wonderful. That if I could draw that kind of emotion out for an interview, that's great. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know there was a couple quotes in there that's very interesting that I'm looking to find out. So, but real quick, question real quick because I know you got other calls.
Sure.
But this is another Rodgers. And again, if you get tired of the Rodgers questions, just
BMAC, I will tell you. I told you this before. I'll tell you again. Anyone who calls in I'm an open book. That's funny, pun intended with the book. I'm an open book. People can ask me any questions they want at any time, and I will answer them. So if you ask 1,000 Aaron Rodgers questions, keep asking them because if I have to answer Aaron Rodgers questions about, of our 4-time NFL MVP, future Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback, I will answer questions until I'm dead. I have no problem. It's better than you asking a question about Zach Wilson, right? So ask a million Aaron Rodgers questions. I don't care.
All right. Well, about the, I know we already talked about this, but about the whole top 100 thing. I mean, I know it's not really a big deal, but it's just the reason I'm bringing it up because it's interesting. Rodgers was on it. You know what I mean? Without playing.
Yes, which we both agreed on. That's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. It is what it is.
But remember, I think Peyton Manning in 2012 made it on the list.
You're right.
At number 50.
He did. Yes.
And he didn't play in 2011. I think 2011 he missed the whole year due to a neck injury.
That's correct.
So this ain't the first time that this has happened.
The kind of funny one with that one was funny, not funny, but like when he was injured and Curtis Painter had that Curtis Painter, there's a name. When they had a 2-14 season, some people not only thought he should be in the top 100, some people thought he should be the MVP because it just showed the difference between a Peyton Manning team that's there and they're awesome. You take him away and the whole building falls apart. That they say he should have gotten an MVP that year, and I agreed. That was spectacular.
So is that the same thing with Rodgers? That so the reason Rodgers was on it is the reason that Peyton was on it because
I don't think it's a direct thing. There's probably different voters over a decade span of time change, I would imagine, and the players vote. Excuse me. So of course there's different players. So no, I don't think that's why. It's just a respect thing, I guess. I don't think the players view it the way that we view it as fans. We say, okay, who are the top 100 right now? And it's kind of a popularity contest a little bit, so it is what it is.
So, do you think Peyton should have been on the list?
Well, no. After a season which you played nothing, no. To me, again, I think me and the players evaluated differently. Whatever their players, I'm not. I say Aaron Rodgers definitely shouldn't have been on that. He played 4 snaps. What in God's green earth? Why would he possibly be on that? That's ridiculous. No, he shouldn't have been on the list. Again, the top 100. The reason why the top 100 is interesting because it's not an all-time list. The intrigue of a top 100 list is what changed from the year prior to this year. Like what just happened. Now all of a sudden we got to reshuffle the board. And, oh, wow, actually this guy's not the best player. And this guy's this guy. But it's not interesting if it's just the same list every year and there's some slight alterations, which is kind of what's happening here, which is unfortunate for the most part. Like Sauce, how did Sauce drop like 14 spots after his rookie year? That doesn't make any sense. So I don't understand. He was the number 1 corner, I believe, in the NFL the year prior on the top 100, and now he's not. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
So why did they put Rodgers on the list, even though he played 4 snaps?
I don't know. I didn't vote. Ask the players. No, not sure.
So it's just like, so it's more like other like because he's a superstar, so they had to put.
Yeah, probably because apparently how they put the list together, Rich Eisen explained it on his show. Every player in the NFL gets a blank piece of paper that's numbered 1 through 20. List right now the top 20 players in the NFL, and they do, and every player apparently that in the NFL they hope fills out that list, turns in their ballot, someone counts it all up, and then they associate a top 100 from all the 1 through 20s. And if there's any tiebreakers, they do follow up with players and stuff. That's basically how the list works.
So with Rodgers and Peyton, they made a list because people name
value. Yes, sure. Pro Bowls, right? Like they say Pro Bowls is a popularity contest. Sure, that's why, yeah.
All right. And then, that's it. And
okay.
One more thing.
Sure.
This is the preseason game. It feels pretty awesome that y'all got to see a quarterback play. Finally, a quality quarterback play. You know what I mean? With Martinez and Peasley.
I agree. Yeah, I thought Martinez looked terrific, and I thought Peasley looked really good too. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys that can move the ball, get the ball in the end zone. You know what I mean? Score touchdowns. And now I don't know if they're going to be our future, but
you don't think what? Say that again.
Peasley and Martinez. Like I don't know if they're going to be our future, but.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
but it's good for a Jet fan to, we can finally watch a quarterback march down the field and get points.
Blessed be he. It was
it.
awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call, B-Mac. Thanks, brother. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for the call. All right, let's go to another one. Here we got NY Jets FL, man, a regular participant once again on the Boy Green Daily Airwaves. What's up, brother? Welcome back.
Morning, Paul. Competent quarterback play. What a concept, right?
Yeah.
It's a visual thing too, because Zach Wilson is so atrociously bad, and then you see somebody who's fairly competent, right? And you're like, wow, like this guy's amazing, and he's like a third stringer. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? Like Zach is like a 10th stringer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was funny, right? That's a BMAC point, right? It's funny that like you don't know what you miss until it's gone, and then also the verse rate, you don't know what you can miss until you have it. So like Zach was sort of like, I guess this is just crappy quarterback play. I guess just everybody has this. And then all of a sudden you get Adrian Martinez, with all due respect to him and Peasley. They're just guys, but yet they've come in and we're like, oh my goodness, the second coming. Let's get the Boston Canton ready. Like it's crazy, but thank God it's great.
Exactly. Leger, he made a good point where he said Conklin will get over 700 yards. This is the first year that I can remember, Paul, in a long time that the possibilities are endless. I mean, not only on the defense, which we know is established already, right?
Yeah.
Who the hell's who's going to cover these players? I mean, there's so many directions for Rodgers to go as long as he has competent line play. I mean, you got Brees.
Someone should be open. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he should not drop back. Go, geez, no one's creating separation here. He should have a multiple choice question on every single snap.
Exactly. And it's, unless there's a totally broken offensive, line breakdown and a free pass rusher at him, he'll do a Zach Wilson and dirt it, or he'll, God willing, he won't start scrambling like too much.
Right.
This is the most excited I've been since, 2007, where I can finally believe in the concept of all gas, no break. This is finally the year where if Salah says it, I won't smirk, and say, come on, really? Yes, coach speak, that is coach speak for Salah.
Sure.
So one thing about Salah that I have to say, he has to get better at his press conferences, because he says, a lot.
Yeah.
It's like 50 times. Come on, Robert, somebody has to get with him and say, I might say it, but I'm not a coach.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's about all I have to say, Paul. It's like I said, it's the most excited I've been since 2007. I was at a Super Bowl that year, whatever that was, 2009.
Yeah, sure.
Supposed to be the Jets. It was supposed to be the Jets. The Steelers, the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think we were gassed. I think our defense, was so great against the Patriots and the Colts that we pretty much got run at. Couldn't stop the run the first half.
And that would have been the Jets Packers Super Bowl, man. Whew, maybe we'll get that this year. Who knows? That would have been awesome. Yeah.
Yep. That's about all I got, Paul. You have a good one, and all gas, no breaks. I'm down with it this year, but let's stay with a straight face now. Have a good one, Paul.
Damn straight. I love it. NY Jets FL joining us on the show. It just feels great. And folks, we've got a lot of action happening this week. Thank you to, again, Leger Douzable for joining us here on the show. Let's give you a couple other teases if I can. I got my little guest book here. All right, so we got Nick Faria, who joins us every Wednesday, so stay tuned for that as he heads over to Jets training camp practice. On Thursday, we'll have Will Parkinson on. He is an all-NFL podcast now with Mike Giardi of the NFL Network. He also does, of course, his own action with his award-winning TOJ podcast, Turn On the Jets podcast as well, plus he does stuff with Badlands. So Will Parkinson on Thursday, and the entire weekend, Some people will love what I'm about to say. Some people will hate it. Hop on Pop. My father will join us for both days, both Saturday and Sunday. So we'll get a pregame of the Carolina Panthers game, which is Saturday night, plus a postgame recap the next morning on Sunday morning. So hop on Pop, a double dipper. And we have the joint practice this week as well. So, I mean, we are freaking loaded with content. We're loaded. And as someone said at the beginning, I can't scroll up that high. We've had too many comments, which is a good problem to have. But someone said, another day closer. And that's what it is. Just another day closer to preseason football, NFL football, and eventually week 1. Before we get out of here, we got to get to another caller. And this caller I asked Leger, you saw that, and this individual should take great pride in what I'm about to say. That final question to Leger. Leger, do you just want to get something off your chest? A hot take, a prediction that you want to plant your flag on this? That question was inspired by this individual, Terrence, joining us on the show, because Terrence, your Garrett Wilson 100 catches before week 10 or by week 10 was the inspiration of that question to Leger. I'm like, Leger, do your best Terrence impression. Give us something spicy. And it was fine. The Tyler Conklin thing was just a standard issue. Very nice. I'll take the Aaron Rodgers 17 games. Thank you for 500, Alex. But not quite Garrett Wilson 100 catches through the first 10 weeks of the season, Terrence. So he needs to learn some lessons to get to your level, buddy.
Thanks, Boy Green. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Great to see you.
Good. Well, I had to get on you for not asking him the question. That's fine. But just to let the fans know, I just want to let you guys know the reason why I say that is because the videos on YouTube that I've watched in the past couple of years, when they're showing the frustration that Garrett Wilson was having on the field, like stomping his feet on the floor, and that the passion that man has, I can't see him getting anything less, than 10 catches a game. This guy's wide open all the time. And when
7-11.
And when you got an Aaron Rodgers and all these guys got these big boulders on their shoulders ready to show the world how good this team is, how can you not think that? And that's my own prediction, though.
Yeah, and by the way, Zebo's asking, do we have a bye? And no, so we have all those primetime games in the first 11 weeks. It's after the Sunday night football game against the Colts in week 11. We have a bye in week 12. We come back to the Seattle Seahawks in week 13. So we have all 10 of those opportunities to potentially accomplish that feat, and that would be terrific. And, man, Garrett deserves it, man. After what he's gone through the first 2 years, he deserves to get the ball more than 10 times a game. Just he should just be absolutely loaded with target opportunities. There's no question.
Yes, I'm looking at about 13 targets a game, and the way he can catch that football, I can look at 9 or 10. I mean, if he has about 90 by week 10, that's fine with me too.
Yeah.
But anything under 90 by week 10, I'm going to be like, Aaron, what's up, man? This guy deserves more,
And I love that because if he's on that pace, he will annihilate the Jets record books, which, by the way, currently is Brandon Marshall's, I believe, 109 catches from 2015. So he has a chance to smash that to smithereens, which, again, with all due respect to Brandon Marshall, that was an awesome year. I want all of the Jet records to get lit on fire this year, hopefully with this awesome team.
Yes, and big shout out to Brandon Marshall, UCF guy. I went to UCF.
Hey, that's right. Yeah, we get Leger UCF. It's a UCF party happening over here.
Well, my oldest sister went to Penn State, so that's Olu. And my second sister, she went to Syracuse.
Oh, hey, you're right. The Orange, we talk about that. Yeah.
Yes, and then I went to UCF. So shout out.
Okay, wow. You guys got some great blood running through that family, baby. Whoa,
yes,
mama.
Yes. Thank you.
I love that. That's awesome.
And one more thing for Reddick.
Sure.
Okay, so let's say you had a job and you wanted to get paid $20 an hour, but they only want to give you 10.
Yeah.
You're probably going to do half a shift, right? Because you're worth 20, but they're giving you half, so you're going to work half.
That's math. Yeah.
So it just seems like to me that Reddick is just going to play as many games according to how much the Jets are willing to pay him. So they're going to pay him that much, and he thinks it's only worth 6 games. I'll take the last 6 games of the season. That's the Super Bowl, the 2-3 playoff games before that, and 3 games before the end of the season. For him to come in strong, ready to go, and help us with this playoff push, that's fine with me. That he can go and do whatever he wants to do next season.
100%. And I feel like a lot of fans are in your camp of like, we don't know this guy. I don't care what he's done with the Eagles and all these other teams. What about the Jets? You've done zip and pip here, pal. The only meeting we know of you is the introductory press conference, which apparently was fake, where he said, I'm so happy. I love it. Whatever happens with the contract happens with the contract. Can't wait to give 110% to Jet fans. To us, that's all noise, man, because this is a results-oriented business. We've seen zip and pip from you. So you holding out. You're not getting any public support from us saying, yeah, hold out for more money, buddy. No, we don't even know you, man. So like first impression wise has been terrible. So the fact of the matter is he's a hired mercenary. That's how I always saw him. I didn't consider him one of the group. Again, Sauce and Germaine and Breeze and Garrett, all those guys got to get paid in my mind. I'm thinking about those guys. I'm not thinking about paying Hassan Reddick. Again, he's an important piece to the puzzle. So just be your hired mercenary. Come in at whatever week that would be because he needs to show up for a certain part of the season so the year counts for him. Yes. I think it's like halfway through the year if we get to that crazy level, and let's make it happen.
Yep. And then, like you said, we got to sign these guys that we draft. Because I think one thing, the problem the Jets have as a franchise, they don't take care of their own. And once they start to take care of their own and the future draft picks see how well the Jets are taking care of their own players, more players that get drafted are going to want to come play and play hard for our team. It's going to change our franchise around.
By the way, real quick, FL Phil says a very bold prediction, that Garrett Wilson prediction, 100 catches in the first 10 weeks. If you do that, you have to take your bows for 7+ weeks and through the playoffs and sign and, kissing babies, signing autographs and taking pictures with locals because, again, that's when people ask for a bold prediction, that's what I'm talking about. That's sizzling. That's spicy. That can happen, and it's juicy. Like, that's something we can all rave around. I love it. You've set the bar for predictions. I like it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Well,
have a good day, guys. Jet fans, have a good one.
There we go. Terrence joined us here on the show, and let's give him one of these on the way. God bless, baby. All right, let's go to another caller. We got another part of the Jets worldwide team. That is Johnny Boy here on the program. What's up, Johnny?
BG, what's going on, brother? How you holding up, man?
Excellent, my man. Great show today. The great calls, a little gifted membership action. It's great. We got a little bit of everything.
Bro, killing it as always, man. I mean, if anybody expect any less from you, bro.
That's true. If they do, it's their mistake. It's their mistake.
At this point, there's no BG in the morning, BG daily. We get worried, bro. Like, I don't know what day's ruined. I won't even have coffee.
Wow. I can understand. So far we're on we've I can't even remember now. I got to see the first date. I'm going to have to go back and see when the first show was, but it was a year and a half, somewhere in there range. But the only break that we've ever had where we did not have a Boy Green Daily over this long span of time was, ironically enough, at Hall of Fame weekend. The hotel Wi-Fi blew up. And didn't happen. I'm like, shoot. So I only did half a show, and then the next day couldn't do it. So a couple sec.
So I wanted to ask you something real quick.
Sure.
Right? I know it's a conversation that we've had within the off season, and then he's had a lot of the hiccups and issues along, but he had a pretty strong preseason game. Tippmann.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
He looked good. I can't say he looked good, right?
Right. Yep.
Now, at this point, do we say we need to continue to keep believing on JD? There's a reason why he's not bringing in McGovern, because it might hinder what they're doing for the future of a Joe Tippmann. Do you think that holds any solace in regards to that, or what's your take on it?
There are certain players that I think have the hinder factor. Again, I've mentioned Joe Flacco in the past. In his trip to Baltimore, his trip to Denver, he was a real dick to the other young players on the team, like Lamar, and I think it was Drew Lock was the youngster that was in there at the time in Denver, and he was just a real asshole. Not only did he not try to help them, but he it was almost like he tried to sabotage them almost. And that's too aggressive a way to put it. But he didn't help them at all. He left them out on an island to learn by themselves. It was just kind of a jerk. Connor McGovern has been the complete opposite of that in our experience. Before he was signed, the Jets were straight up. They signed him the week of the draft, which was last April. And they told him, hey man, just so you know, we're going to sign you right now to this money that we've all agreed to. But in 3 days, we're drafting a center. That's our plan. And when we do, you guys are going to be competing and all that stuff. And Connor said he knew that right from the get-go, and he's embraced the young man, and he said all these wonderful things that hopefully one day I'm there in Canton, Ohio, as he's getting enshrined. He said all the wonderful things. So from a Hinder perspective, it would surprise me if that would be the reason that's holding everything back from Connor McGovern. And again, the Instagram videos, I know those are videos, he's working out, and he's looking great by all respects. And I know he had another injury he was dealing with last year. So I'm not sure why not bring him in. He seems like a great locker room guy. Seems like Tippmann likes him. Seems like Connor McGovern likes him. It's all groovy, baby. They must feel good. Again, I'm giving benefit of the doubt here. They must feel good about the Cole Lavals, the Wes Schweitzers, the Xavier Newmans, the guys that we don't talk or headline shows with, but they're in the building and they have experience. That must be who they feel great about. And until the situation arises, hopefully it doesn't, where Tippmann is unavailable for a week and we see option number 2, if it sucks, I think a lot of people are going to be like, Connor McGovern, man. And if not, and things are going great, then we'll be like, I guess the Jets were right.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you and I are in agreement that if we were to bring in McGovern, it would be fine. And I think it would be a death piece, but we're still fine with the actual people we already have as well. So either or, we're like, it is what it is right now.
Yeah.
Because we want Joe Tippmann to play the whole year and not have to ever work
right.
play twice there and everything like that. Cool. Now, the other thing, not many people are talking about it, and I wanted to bring it up, is we kind of said it yesterday, but we really didn't go too much into it. It's Fotu, right? Lakey Fotu.
Yes.
That dude's going to be a beast, man. He was so disruptive in the middle yesterday in those drives that he was in. He was consistently getting through the line, and that was their starting line as well, right? So what's your take on him? Like, do you think him next to Q is going to be, and we're going to see something that could be potentially historical and record breaking?
It's a good question, and I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of Jet fans are kind of crapped on Likey when he came in because he doesn't have this history or things of that nature. Again, I continue to pound the table. If the Jets' defensive coaching staff sees something, I've got to take a step back, regardless of how I feel, and say, whoa, wait a second here. We got to reevaluate this thing because they've been right basically every friggin' time. So that's the part to me where I take a step back and say, whoa. So like Likey Fotu, again, the numbers don't jump out to you from his career. He was a big Arizona Cardinals guy before coming over here. But again, the Jets know defense. Now, offense, they grabbed him, and you can always go, well, let's see something here. But for me, Likey Fotu, I think is going to be incredible. Now, I think he's going to be a piece to the puzzle. So Quinton is the straw that stirs the drink, and then he just needs a rotational cast of different Robins for each game. I think Javon Kinlaw, beautiful story. Shout out to Rich Samini for that awesome column on Javon Kinlaw's personal story. If you guys haven't checked it out, go to the mothership there, ESPN. It's a tear-jerking story on Javon Kinlaw and his amazing story and how he got here. It's really cool. So Javon Kinlaw's in that conversation. Likey Fotu, Sally, another former first rounder in San Francisco that didn't work out great, lands here with the Jets, and he is his role. It's not the number 3 overall pick, and it's fine. He doesn't live up to that hype, but he doesn't have to anymore. That's the past. That doesn't matter anymore. You're here now. So I'm really excited about Likey Fotu. I think he's got a lot of potential. I don't know what the pass rush juice is of the kid. That's been kind of spotty throughout his career, but I'm hoping he could take leaps and bounds. Quentin Jefferson had pops, and certainly he was kind of a pass rush specialist of sorts coming in here. So, yeah, I think a lot of people raise their eyebrow at the defensive tackle, too, who's a starter in our 4-3 defense, that a lot of people went, I'm not sure what the Jets have. And I'm like, let's trust the Jets. So, yeah, I really like what I saw from Likey in the game. And specifically, I'm really curious to see how that rotation works because the Jets are going to be playing with more leads. This group is going to respond differently with those leads.
And the last thing, BG, I appreciate you saying that because it's the truth, bro. You've been preaching it forever and a day. Believe in the defensive coaches that we have here. If anything, we can trust them. Last thing, Malachi Corley. God damn, that motherfucker looks great. I'm sorry for cursing so early, man.
No, that's okay. Of course, yeah.
Dude, seeing him out there, seeing him, the heads-up play, seeing him potentially doing some catching for returns and everything. Seeing that and the way he looked at some of the holes that he was trying to hit, I'm like, hey man, we got something here. This dude could break it, so again, it's what I go right back to what New York Jets Florida Ted said. All gas, no break. I'm excited to see that, dude. I'm so hyped, bro. And I know it's preseason. I know I shouldn't be drinking the Kool-Aid like that, right? I mean, I think if your pops was on here, he'd probably tell us both of us need to pump the brakes and
definitely he would be, yeah.
Stop, you know what I mean? But hey, I can't help it, bro. I mean, you said it, I think, I think you said it on your Twitter. You were like, Aiden Martinez, are we going to see Chris Traveler 2.0 all over again? And yo,
come on, people.
Right, bro. You were right.
Get the crystal ball out. I want the apology tour for all the people who said that's a stupid take. Now look, shut up. Yeah, all those people out there. See, not everyone has the ability to have a crystal ball. It's a gift. God delivered, I signed for it. That's just what happens. I just tell you things before they happen. They're spoiler alerts. You're welcome, people. You're welcome.
Hey, BG, man, have a good week, bro. Awesome thing to start to the week again, as always, man. Look forward to you, bro. Hyped for this weekend that's up and coming, man. It's going to be insane, dude. Woody's been talking all types of smack already. So
okay.
It's on popping and everything, so it's gonna be a good one, man. And he said you got nothing on him. He said King Kong ain't got nothing on him.
Wow. So. Okay. Well, I'm a guy who stands on business, so we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Johnny.
Hey, man. Thanks, man. Have a good day, Jay.
Yeah, Jay. Oh, go ahead. Finish it off. Sorry, Johnny. Go ahead. Let me hear it.
Yes. Jets. Let's go.
Booyah. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate that. Okay, Ed Vargas, baby, gifting 5 memberships. You love to friggin' see it play those gosh darn chimes, baby. Let's give a shout out to Joe Fliz, Adam S. That's No Ghost, Whitney Gilmore, and Jet Strong 12-73. You are all now members of the Boy Green Coffee Club, and people, pay it forward. Also, you have access to the Discord channel, so feel free to do that down below. All right, guys, I see we have a few more callers. I'll try to go quick through all you guys, and I got to run to the radio station. So let's go to the 411, the other half, Tio here on the show. Uncle VR, what's up, brother?
Good morning, Boy Green. Paul, great interview with Leger Douzable. Dooz, I love him. He's awesome. He has great takes. Love to see him on, and great interview with him. Shout out to the Coffee Club, everyone in the chat. Just wanted to bring up one point, and I was going in the social media talking about this. I've been saying Leonard Taylor III's name from 2 months ago as the UDFA signing that will make this team. And he showed out on Saturday with a run stuff behind the line of scrimmage in the first quarter, and then a sack in the fourth quarter. On both plays, he beat a double team and just kind of went around that second person and just manhandled them and
blew it up, man.
Blew it up, pushed up the field. If this is what we're going to see from this dude coming in, I'm going to tell you, man, who on that rotation, I don't know who, it could be Michael Clemens, it could be, someone else, but watch your spot because this guy is coming and he is going to be a force. I think he's going to be someone to be reckoned with moving forward. Other than that, everyone else looked great. It's great to win, isn't it? Just, the Jets, I don't care if it's preseason. I don't care if it's a dog show. Like we win, we win a game. It's awesome to see. There was so many positives, in the game, but our wide receivers are looking great. Our backups to the backups are looking great. Shout out Martinez. You know what I mean? Shout out Peasley. I mean, just everyone, just really, really looking good. I'm looking forward to this Saturday with the Carolina Panthers to just keep the train rolling. And, I don't know if you're going to be at Jake's thing, but I'll be there on the 17th.
Will not, unfortunately. But I hope you guys represent for me.
Absolutely. T Squared is going to be nice. And, having a whole bunch of, like-minded Jets fans rooting for the same team in one place, just like the home opener, which I know you will definitely be at.
Yes,
so
damn straight. I will, yes.
Yeah, definitely have our Jets chant on and our Jets fandom on, and just celebrating in unison a beating of the Patriots on that day. So
my number one task, my number one thing for that Jets home Patriots opener is making sure my phone is fully charged for hopefully all the pictures I'm taking with as many people as possible there, because that's going to be freaking amazing. I can't wait to you. Man, again, I'm enjoying all this. To be honest, I know a lot of people want to rush to the preseason, go through it again. The season's going to be awesome when it gets here, but I'm enjoying this process. I'm enjoying the joint practice. I'm enjoying these shows because, again, savor it. I think Hep says it in his song at the end, like, let's savor this and enjoy the hell out of this because we're going to remember this during the parade of all these moments, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great show. You do the best. Coffee in the morning has to have Boy Green in it without question. Salute.
Damn straight.
Salute the chat. Salute the club, the coffee club. I'm out. That's all I got.
There he goes. Uncle Tio signing off to 411 every Friday night at 6 o'clock. You guys can go look him up on that channel on the show. All right, everybody, I desperately have to leave. I got to go run and do a radio show for Pete's sake in Syracuse, but thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. We had 600 people in the room live right now. Like the video, hit subscribe. If you watch after the fact, we appreciate it. Show your support wherever you are. Again, that is youtube.com/boygreen25. And thanks to Ed Vargas and also MFC earlier in the show for gifting memberships, baby. You, if you're watching, whether it's this show's live or even after the fact, if you go down in the YouTube description, you can become a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club by just clicking, hey, do you want to join the Boy Green Coffee Club? And then click here, and then boom, all of a sudden you become a member. You get a loyalty badge, you get the emojis unlocked, plus access to our Discord channel, which is terrific. And it keeps the party going well beyond 7:30 in the morning. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time. Take care.